In the series, Golden State now with a 3-2 series lead. The series shifts to San Francisco this Friday night for Game 6. The Timberwolves closed out the Lakers 103-96 last night. Minnesota wins the series 4-1. Tonight, the Pistons host the Knicks. Game 6, New York up 3-2 in the series. The Clippers looking to stay alive at home tonight in Game 6 against the Nuggets. NHL last night, the Capitals closed out the Canadiens 4-1 the final. They win the series 4-1. Washington moves on to face Carolina. The Panthers beat the Lightning 6-3 to win that series 4-1. They'll take on the Toronto-Ottawa winner. The Jets beat the Blues 5-3 to take a 3-2 series lead. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers Slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, Slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
Well, you could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Get the SportsGrid mobile app and get gaming strategies and information faster than you can say, "No, honey, I know how to gamble," when your wife asks for $10 to get a scratcher. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, let's not know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
It's gonna be May, and it's gonna be the best hour of your day that is officially underway. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Kevin Walsh, and for the next hour, boy, do we got topics today. Afternoon Major League Baseball, fantastic, love to see it. The month of May, love to see it. The Kentucky Derby this weekend, love to see it. NBA action, 2 more closeout games on the docket, which we had 2 yesterday, and maybe the most surprising result of round number 1 for me, Kevin. Your Los Angeles Lakers dropped in round number 1 in 5 games after a lackluster performance last night at home.
Yeah, it was pathetic. I think there's a lot of people that came out looking a little bit worse at the end of that series. I don't think one of them is the guy who Mr. Ranieri spent 5 minutes bashing for some reason at the end of this series on Early Line this morning. I always get tipped off to LeBron slander, so that got put on my radar. Luka, like, the Lakers couldn't grab a rebound, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you know what? Luka's rebounding numbers are fake. Like, balls just land to him. He can't rebound actually over anybody, right? Like, that was annoying. Reeves really struggled in this series. But the person, Donnie, and I think you'll agree, I think the person that came out worst at the end of this series by far was JJ Redick. I think Rudy Gobert's NBA career will be defined by Defensive Player of the Years and an inability to stay on the floor in postseason series. And Rudy Gobert went out there and had a Shaq game. Literally the first person to have like a 2020 with that level of efficiency game since Shaq was on the Lakers. That's what we saw. The Timberwolves had a historically bad three-point shooting performance that no team had ever won before during the playoffs. They still won this game. The Lakers couldn't score. They have Luka and LeBron. They couldn't score the basketball all series. It was just awful, truly, Donnie, from the Lakers across the card there. I I also think one of the other issues they ran into, and I know I'm kind of like emptying the thought menu here, but the selling point of Luka is, okay, good, now LeBron won't be their best player in a series, and whoops, LeBron was still their best player in the series. Both sides of the ball impact, it wasn't even close. So that was really frustrating as well.
Yeah, I actually was, milling around last night. I wanted to stay up because I'm really intrigued by like the Houston Rockets series, which we'll get to in just a moment. They absolutely just clapped Golden State, and for a championship organization that knows how to put teams away, to throw a game away, I thought that was really interesting. We'll get to that in just a bit, but I want to focus on the Lakers here because I watched early on, and it was apparent that is Rudy Gobert the single best player I've ever seen in my life, because I'm just going to post up 1 foot from the rim, throw me the ball, I'll turn around and lay it in, and you can't do anything about it, Los Angeles. Which again brings up to, you make the trade for Luka, you need a big guy, you're canceling trades, you never get an effective person. Dalton Connect, who's the ultimate greatest bucket we've ever seen from a young guy in the NBA, to he doesn't even get any playing time on the team. And you're right about J.J. Redick. But the focus for me is, sometimes I can live with Kevin. I was shocked that the Lakers lost in 5 games. I really was. You know what? Final score, 128-127. Damn, what a good game, man. Back and forth, unbelievable. The fact that you are correct. You tell me the box score, which I love to do. Oh, look at that. Anthony Edwards, 15 points, 0 for 11 from three-point range, and then 7 of 47, I believe, was the number that they shot from three-point range in that game. And the Lakers lost that game at home. If you just tell me those two stats, that's the Lakers by 35 points. Oh, my goodness, they're going to storm back and win this series.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. It is a classic. But here's the thing, Donnie. It's not the only game this series that if we played, the classic money line of, hey, if I told you, right, what do you think would have happened? I understand Anthony Edwards was, beyond brilliant in some of these games, but there were other instances where you just kind of go up and, Donnie, hey, LeBron had 38 points on 5 of 9 from 3 in Minnesota. Oh, well, there's no way they lost that game. Yeah, they got beat by double digits. They didn't score like the final 4 minutes of the game. What? It's just... And here's the other thing. J.J. Redick got really angry. You can tell he's really angry about the criticism that's coming his way for playing 5 guys for an entire half. And he's angry. It's funny because I almost see where he's coming from to some degree. I think J.J. Redick is mad that his decision is being chalked up to inexperience. I think JJ, if he could have that, could have a calm conversation, he would try and say, look, maybe I made a mistake, but it wasn't because I don't know basketball, or it wasn't because I'm a year 1 coach. And while I understand JJ is trying to stick up for himself, buddy, the proof's in the pudding. You will never do that again. You won't. Yesterday, the idea in game 4 was, our season's on the line. Okay, well, it wasn't. Your season was on the line yesterday, right? Literally. He subbed out Luka at the end of the 3rd quarter with a minute left to get him even extra rest and energy going into the 4th quarter. And he didn't start the 4th quarter. So you didn't even do the do or die thing in the actual do or die game, because now you had to overcompensate so much for the insane play 5 guys 24 minutes thing you did in game number 4. And also, don't be so stuck in your ways that if you tell Jackson Hayes pregame, listen, pal, you're probably not going to see the floor tonight, and then Rudy Gobert's dunking the ball every play, go, I told Hayes he wasn't going to play. Who cares? Throw the 7-footer out there. If you're that angry at Hayes, even if Alex Len's one of the worst NBA players I've watched all season, throw him into the game. It's crazy. It was awful. There's no reason for it. Dalton Connect was the steal of round 1 almost unanimously. The guy hasn't played in 2 months. That's coaching. That's development. You have to wear that. You have to wear that, Donnie.
And by the way, you take a look, too, at the bench. Like, what do you want the Lakers to do? Well, I don't know. You said Rob Pelinka was the greatest GM in the history of basketball, game an extension, and get bounced in 5 games. And everyone's like, who put that roster together? Because now the Luka Doncic trade goes up in flames momentarily because of how they flamed out. But more questions also at the post-game presser with LeBron James. Talk to my support staff, talk to my family, talk to my people. And I asked Joe Ranieri, and Joe's like, yeah, he probably shouldn't play again. We know he's playing again. There's no doubt in my mind LeBron James is coming back. The question is going to be, like, does he have the mojo to be like, all right, Lakers, I'll hold you hostage. You better go out and spend way over the cap, throw every first-round pick in the future to the wall to get me like Russell Westbrook back again so we can try to win a championship. Like, what happens in the offseason for the Lakers? What do the Lakers look like next year? If it's Luka and LeBron and still that roster, can't be.
No, the thing is, though, Don, and that's like you can defend JJ in that literally nobody, including the Lakers, thought that their roster was complete in their attempt to trade for Mark Williams, right? They knew that they needed to get a legitimate center on the roster. But simultaneously, that does not excuse being the 3 seed and losing the opening round in 5 games. Oof. That does not excuse that whatsoever. I'll just say this: if by chance you speak to Ranieri tomorrow, I don't know. His commentary that LeBron is a shell of himself is actually maybe the biggest compliment. No, Donnie, it's maybe the biggest compliment you will see to someone give. If what LeBron offered up in this series is a shell of himself, you know what? Greatest player in the history of the sport. He's got a point. He's got a point, this Joey man.
I mean, Bronny couldn't even come in to save the day. Come on
now.
Let's get together, Lakers. Now we're talking. Now we're in the hour number 1 of Moneyline, which again is the only hour of Moneyline.
Download the SportsGrid mobile app.
Just do it.
You might as well get it.
We're not going to shut up about it until you do.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. The NFL is issuing a fine to the Atlanta Falcons and the team's defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich following an investigation into a prank call made to Shedeur Sanders during the 2025 NFL Draft. Sanders and several others were the victims of prank calls while waiting to be contacted during the draft last week. An Army combat veteran whose Gulf War experience triggered severe mental problems is scheduled to be executed today in Florida for the shotgun killings of his girlfriend and her 3 young children in 1998. Barring a last-minute reprieve, Jeffrey Hutchinson is set to receive a lethal injection tonight at the Florida State Prison near Stark. The execution, if carried out, will be the 4th in Florida this year under the death warrant signed by Governor Ron DeSantis. The 62-year-old Hutchinson has long claimed he is innocent and that 2 unknown assailants perpetrated the killings as part of a U.S. government conspiracy. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code RADIO. swishradio.com, code RADIO.
Let's make something crystal clear. The winning edge has nothing to do with increasing good luck. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's sports gaming strategies and information. You want luck? Flip a coin. You want to win?
Flip it here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it. Moneyline, ready to rock and roll. Hot topics. LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers out of the playoffs. Round number 1 and game number 5. Bankrupt the NBA. They're not going to hold the ratings anymore. How could you do this to us? But also, Ken, did you hear this? Press conference scheduled today in Dallas. An extension for Nico Harrison. And also the fans. Big apology letters they're writing to him today. Big time.
It's actually, again, I know when Donnie is like messing around. So I know that's what this is. Do people realize how dumb they sound when they like maybe Nico was on to something? Like, do they realize ultimately Luka Doncic could retire tomorrow, and it's the dumbest trade in NBA history.
I don't know. Starting to gain steam the other way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and Josina Anderson then apparently. So this is the thing that's been going on for a while. Even if you individually do not value Luka Doncic, which is a pretty scorching take, although it is now gaining steam because people have short-term memory loss, the return that which they got for Luka Doncic in the trade is completely unforgivable. So it doesn't even matter. There is no defending Nico Harris in this instance. There is not.
Take a look.
He traded away.
Now let me ask you: if AD was on the Lakers, do they beat Minnesota? Rudy Gobert can't do anything. You're fighting down low now.
Yeah, maybe. I think possibly. I think that's a totally valid point. They weren't winning a championship though, either direction.
No.
Again, to me, the key for the Lakers for 3-4 years has been this notion of LeBron is actually going to be the second best player on the team. Like that has been this idea. And it just, we're still waiting on it. We're still waiting on it.
This is the year LeBron only needs to play 20 minutes in the regular season, 25 minutes, plays his normal 40 minutes. Lakers need him just to make the playoffs. They make the playoffs, bounced early, which again, I'm shocked that the Lakers got beat up that early in round number one. We'll see where they go and if it's LeBron James and all that stuff.
But Donnie, right? Like you agree though in that the stunning aspect of it is the Lakers, despite having LeBron and Luka. So this is what bothers me, I think, a little bit with like some of the Luka stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
People today on all like these big shows, Luka's defense. I get it. He can't guard. I got you. The Lakers did not lose this series because of defense. They could not score the basketball. They were held under 103 of the games. There's only 5 games. They have LeBron and Luka. They couldn't score 100 points. He was terrible. He was atrocious.
Where was Rui at?
Amazing. Rui was giving it his all. I give him some credit. I like what I'm seeing from this Rui Hodge.
But I do like that you can't buy a bucket and Dalton connects like, yeah, I'm like 6'9", I'll drop a triple, get a couple post moves together. Like, yeah, brother, stay on the bench.
And that's
clean deal of the draft. She's like, man, the Lakers got another one. Just like KCP, just like, who was the other guy? Taylor Horton Tucker. Man, they all over the place out here.
But again, the Connect was supposed to be. Here's the other amazing thing about Connect too, Donnie. Right, like steal the draft, senior in college, supposed to be able to play day number 1. Like, and again, like the Lakers just couldn't find anywhere for him on the floor. Although early in the season, he was co-favorite to win Rookie of the Year next to Jared McCain. Well, that was still going. Like, so that whole thing's a total. Here's the other thing with Jackson Hayes that people I think lost. If you play Jackson Hayes, Luka will find him on a lob or a layup, play after play after play after play. And you just completely removed that from his arsenal.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a roll man. Like nobody was even rolling to the basket.
Nope.
It's just, it's such bad basketball. Such bad basketball. Look, it was a close series though, ultimately too. Like it's jarring when a series is done in 5. But it wasn't as if the Lakers got smashed they got smashed once, and then there were some close games.
Yeah, look, Lakers are done. See what happens. Bronny's back. LeBron James said, look, I won championships. I've won scoring titles. I've won MVPs. I've done it all, but nothing is bigger than me playing with my son, Bronny, on the basketball team. Now, is Bronny the distraction, Kevin, that the Lakers need to rid themselves of next year? Is that what we're hearing in the street?
No, that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. That would be totally nonsensical. Do you think next year will be LeBron's? Like, do you think that? Because you're someone who believes. I'm not saying this negatively. Many people believe this, that LeBron is going to do the retirement tour, right?
Yes. Yeah. LeBron doesn't have a scheduled ESPN May 31st event that's going to happen where he retires. He would never do that. He's going to say
the NBA also
he has
would be
that
furious
event,
with
Kevin.
him.
Yeah, if he has that event May 31st, like in the NBA Finals. All right, here's my announcement. 1 more year back in Los Angeles, and I expect everywhere I go, to get cars, trips, vacations, rings, jewelry. As you show me the respect I am as the king. Yeah, he's never going to be like, you know what? Thought about it with my family. I'm done now. No shot. He will have the retirement tour.
So again, I tend to agree, but that does mean that. Yeah, but so I'm glad that you caught that at the very end there, because people dislike LeBron so much they're going to pretend that him doing the retirement tour is negative when, like, Kobe was the guy who did the retirement tour, but we don't have to like ultimately
the retirement tour. Kobe, yeah, for
So
years.
we don't really, we don't have to open that whole Pandora's box. I'll just, but that does to what that means to me, Donnie, is it's very likely then that LeBron is going to announce within the next 3 months, this is going to be my final NBA season next season.
I don't think so, though. I think he does one more year.
You think he's got 2, 3?
Yeah.
Really?
When you're still playing good basketball and you are still playing at the level he does, it's like a boxer. Like, hey, man, got all the money in the world. I'm 39. I have 10 title fights, won them all. There's nothing more I can do. And be like, you know what? I miss the ring. I miss the boys. I miss the crowd cheering for me. Because athletes will tell you in turn, like, your body's going to tell you. But also, you love your family, but there is nothing like locker room camaraderie, flying on planes together, the boys together, playing a sport. Yeah, he's going to hang on as long as he possibly can at that point, as long as he has an opportunity, which he thinks, to win a championship. We'll talk about it more next. Moneyline.
Get the SportsGrid mobile app. It's much easier to carry than your lucky horseshoe.
And you won't get stopped at the airport.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1991, A's outfielder Ricky Henderson steals the all-time MLB record, 939th base, in a 7-4 win over the Yankees. Also in 1991, Nolan Ryan pitches a record 7th no-hitter.
That's it! Number 7 is in the books. The remarkable Ryan has done it again.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
A new jet lag study of 60,000 trips by normal travelers finds getting up early to catch our flight.
Sorry, you're already late.
Makes jet lag worse. To beat the 2-day average recovery time, try at breakfast exposing yourself to bright sunlight while pounding hot coffee. Or right after you land, have a big night out. And finally, a rather bizarre Cornell University study has found shining bright light on the back of your kneecaps for 3 hours stimulates previously unknown circadian photoreceptors until you fall asleep. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The early line.
He was the minus money favorite, the odds-on favorite to go first overall. For Shedeur Sanders not to be a first-round pick, all right, I think I could buy into that. For Shedeur Sanders to be a fifth-round pick, that is the shocker, that is the stunner, and that is why I buy that notion. It is the most surprising slide we have ever seen in draft history.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. There are too many people addicted to their phones these days, unless it's to look or listen to the SportsGrid mobile app.
In fact,
you should delete all your apps but ours.
Your wife texts you too much anyway.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Closeout situations, people. By the way, shout out to the people going nuts in the chat box this morning. You know we love to see it here. Who's out there? CJ, Darren, Aaron, Vic. The boys are all out there trading information back and forth. That's what we do. Donnie, how do we watch you and Kevin? Easy. SportsGrid On Demand on our YouTube channel. Every day more subscribers. Get in there, have fun, share. Because it's not just our show. It's every show we do on the radio. You pop in there and you want to watch. You want to have some fun. You want to yell at Joe Lisi and Mike Carver saying, stop putting it with the golf. That's the chat box to do it in there. Stop putting it with the golf. Just keep it simple at that point. But we are talking about the NBA. And last night, again, we spent a lot of time talking about the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Interesting game. the Warriors absolutely got hammered from the jump against the Rockets. Yeah. Then the game got salty in the second half because I told you guys, like, I'll stay up a little bit later when I really like to see meaningful games, like an NFL game on a Thursday or Monday. Usually I'm working, but same thing with Sunday. I'm trying to stay up as long as I can. I was able to watch the entirety of the Warriors-Rockets game. Not all the way through, per se, but I was up, flipping it on and off. I wanted to see what was going on. Once it was a blowout, turned it off. But then it got chippy in the fourth quarter, which included, like, hard fouls and full court presses and fouls down 18 points with 3 minutes to go and coaches' challenges, which I'm excited to see what Game 6 has. But the one thing that caught me off guard was the Rockets are not a team, Kevin, when you go, see that? Learning how to win, learning how to close out series. You can't do that. They'll learn from their mistakes. The Warriors went into that game like, man, Game 6 is our building. I really wish we could have taken this game off, and then took the game off and got trashed in that game against the Rockets.
It was stunning, but I also feel as if, Donnie, their decision. So when the NBA playoffs, you treat leads differently, right? So if it's like 17, you're like, ooh, we got a shot. And the bench guys did cut it under 20. So Ime threw his starters back out there. He's like, we're not going to mess around.
Yes.
And Kerr was like, Kerr's not dumb. He did not think that the bench guys were going to win the game. He wasn't like, Guy Santos has this work, and I'd rather stick with Guy Santos over Steph Curry. He was just like, I do not care. My guys are old. He keeps talking about this apparently my guys are old, and we are going to basically play half a game, and this is great, and we're going to destroy this team in Game 6. And he's probably right. If they don't, it's not a great look for Steph, who people are pretending, whatever. He did not do anything yesterday.
13 points in a closeout game for Steph. Like, how come we're not getting that today? We're not getting that referendum.
Listen, there's certain guys, Donnie, that just have been able to evade criticism like I've never seen before, and he is one of them.
Steph went 4-17 from the 3-point line. Yeah, but he was shooting them, man. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, but what'd you want him to do? I don't know, make more. I don't. What are you saying to me? Yeah, but look, I would be really surprised if Golden State did not win Game 6. What's that line? It's probably expensive. 5-6 points. I would almost envision
on my board here. 5 across and 4.5 at BetMGM. 5.5 is the opening number, by the way. It's all down.
I don't know. I mean, the Steph, something to track for everybody out there. Steph's points prop was 24.5 in Game 5. It was a telling number. It was like the book's like, this is probably just a Houston game. I wonder how if they jack that number up now, returning home, 2 straight sub 20 games. I wonder what we get from there. Probably be a better effort.
Yeah, I just wanted to see extended series too, because I really thought the Lakers. I didn't think the Lakers would win the series, but I didn't think they would get dropped in 5. And I would love to see them win game number 6 and have a game number 7 at home on a Sunday, which would have been crazy ratings for the NBA, which are not going to have. But also, just from like content perspective, it's fun talking about double, triple, and quadruple headers every night. And as you get through the playoffs, they drop lower and lower and lower. But tonight, again, you have 2 more elimination-style games: the Detroit Pistons and the Los Angeles Clippers. And for me, like the stronger feelings where I liked the Rockets last night. Was I going to bet them? No. But I know better than to see the lines be like, 8 out of every 10 tickets on the Warriors. Line not moving at all. Warriors are way better. They'll beat, and they just got clapped in that game. I expect the same sort of performance out of the Clippers tonight, where they're just supposed to come out and blow the doors off the Nuggets, because Nuggets are like, okay, Game 7's in our building. Let's see what happens in the first half. And then if not, we'll pull the Warriors and pull everybody out and say, okay, we're going to get ready while you drain your energy in this game. We'll see in game number 7. The Pistons tonight are favored by 1.5 down from 2.5 at the opening number. The Clippers 7 down to 6.5. Now, if you're just looking at straight betting perspectives, Kevin, 8 out of every 10 tickets, Nuggets tonight. Oh, give the Nuggets 6.5 to 7. That's crazy work. Why are you in that situation? So that's for me tonight. I think the Clippers.
That's surprising.
The Nuggets. We'll get Kevin's thoughts on the Knicks, Pistons, and Nuggets Clippers next on Moneyline.
This is the place.
This is where you'll get expert perspectives and sports gaming strategies 24/7.
And it's free.
Beat that, you cheap. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. NBA tonight, the Pistons looking to stay alive at home when they take on the Knicks. New York trying to close things out, up 3-2 as they head into tonight's game at Little Caesars Arena. At the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, the Clippers looking to stay alive against the Nuggets. Denver up 3-2 in the series. The NFL has fined the Falcons and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich following the prank call Ulbrich's son made to Shedeur Sanders in the draft. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, 4 games on the schedule. The Maple Leafs and Senators in Ottawa. Toronto up 3-2. Vegas looking to close out the Minnesota Wild in St. Paul. The Golden Knights up 3-2. Colorado trying to stay alive against the Stars in Denver tonight. Dallas up 3-2. Edmonton can close things out at home against the Kings. The Oilers up 3-2. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code RADIO. swishradio.com, code RADIO.
If sports talk stations were buffets, we'd be the one with the line out the door where every night is rib night and you came alone because the crowd gives you a measure of cover so you won't get any grief for going back 9 times. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ooh, series prices. What do you like? New York Knicks minus 490 to win that series over the Pistons. What do you think about the Pistons game tonight? Rough and rowdy, crazy atmosphere. Because for me, from a Pistons perspective, I always get a kick out of this, Kevin. Like, they should already be moved on. They should already won the series. It's a wrap. Like, why have we been playing game number 6? Blew game number 1, got fouled in another game. We should already have the series lead and be moving forward. They don't, but they'll play tonight. Is this a game again with the Knicks where they're like, we'll see what happens in the first half? Or is this where the Knicks go in there and say, look, we're just better than you, Pistons. We're not better than the good teams, but we're better than you. We handle our business. Is it Brunson tonight? Is it Karl Anthony Towns getting a shot together tonight? Is it Josh Hart? Like, what are the Knicks doing tonight versus the Pistons?
Here's my struggle as someone who's been on the Knicks within the series, Donnie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Game 5, though, I don't know about you. Game 5 was the first time I liked Detroit in any one of the games.
Oh.
I played their team total, though.
Yeah.
So I almost liked Detroit, but walked into a loser. They got there on some free throws late.
Mm-hmm.
My pre-series thoughts should love the Knicks here because I didn't think the Pistons would hang as much as they have.
Yeah.
But I am now really struggling with this notion that the Pistons are going to go 0-3 in their own building against the Knicks.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I just, you know what I mean? Like, I really, Donnie, don't see Detroit, if there is a Game 7, winning that Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, like, well, you can't really count much out kind of situation. I'm really torn on the side here. I would almost say the game Knicks Pistons feels like, for me, a stronger props game because I don't see much of a blowout either way. Where Clippers Nuggets, because I think you could be onto it. It could be, LA by a lot. I think that's a side total, team total type of game there. I think you want to be really careful in that prop market.
Yeah, it is. And also, look, we look at the Clippers game as well, because, reviewing it this morning on the early line, some numbers really stick out to you. And I get nervous because there's 2 ways you can process this game. Like, if we go to player points at FanDuel, like Nikola Jokic is 27.5. If this is a really good game and the Nuggets are all in and playing well through 4 quarters, he very easily could do one of his 33, 17, and 11 games. But I look at it where I understand it's a different handicap. And the algorithms don't really go into that, Kevin. They're saying, okay, no, Jokic is there. Harden is there. Kawhi is there. The expectation of a blowout. They don't really factor that into the equation. But there is a part of me that says, and again, it's maybe only 5%. Hey, things aren't working out well for us. 30-21 first quarter, 30-26 second quarter. And then you see the third quarter again, another 4 or 5 point win. You go, I'm not going to play Nikola Jokic in the fourth quarter in this game unless we make a run to get it within single digits. Otherwise, he's rested. He's in bubble wrap till game number 7.
Yep.
Well, he gets 27.5 points. But if it is a game where it's like, okay, 119, 118, let's just say, then yeah, he probably can get there. So I look at the top end of that team and say, I probably want the under on Nikola Jokic. Now, you know me. I do like to ride the hot hand. Jamal Murray went in the previous game. And then it always is eye candy. Go, well, hey, in the 40s last game, you're hanging a 20 on the guy? Like, where do we get down? But again, you're still nervous about, okay, let me try my hand and be like, hey, YOLO. And it's like, man, I just went 1 for 9 from 3-point range, but just didn't work out in my favor. If there was one guy on the Nuggets I backed tonight again, it's probably Jamal Murray.
Really? Oh, wow. That is a ginormous zag on me.
I'm
wow.
over on Jamal Murray. Under Jokic, over Jamal.
Interesting.
Who heads to the bench? Like, and again, we're playing at a 5% scenario. Who heads to the bench first? You know what I mean? Like, even if like they're down 17 points, like I still think, Jamal Murray's out there playing. Like, Jokic won't be playing.
I feel like if they're pulling
first
everyone,
half numbers, we don't have first half numbers, do we? Like, you can't.
No, I was thinking about that last night.
Man,
you have first quarter.
You
do have first quarter.
That. Yeah, you do.
No, that makes sense,
7.5.
It's a ton. Donnie, like if Jamal Murray gets over his points prop,
yeah,
then to me that means we had ourselves a very competitive, close. Everyone's playing in the fourth quarter game. The Nuggets don't. You can't really blow the Nuggets out if Jamal Murray's playing well.
Yeah, but how well are we playing?
Well, you got him going over his number.
At the end of 3, 22 points at the end of 3, 17-point game. We head to the bench because I'm buying price point there. Because otherwise, well, then Jokic probably played 3 quarters. But yeah, I mean, Jokic can get 30 points in a blowout. Yes, he can. But I'm just trying to play out the scenario where I don't like an elite performance for me for Jokic is 30 points in a closeout game on the road. He might get there. He really might, which means they played well. And my expectations aren't that they take the Warriors route like, it just didn't work out in the first 5 minutes. You know what, coach? Come get me. Like, I'm going to play 22 minutes and not be done with it. Like, in a perfect world, Jokic plays 37 minutes and they close out the Los Angeles Clippers in L.A. But I just look at that price point and say, who's under that? And then you can go vice versa, because if I expect a big Clippers win, if they get a blowout, that still means, Kevin, they probably scored 115 points, which you don't have to, well, Harden would have scored more than 20 if it wasn't a blowout. Like, no, they got 115 points. He better have 20.5 points in that game if it's a $1.50.
He did, to your credit, he did get over the number in the route. Jamal
Murray,
like in that domination. But see, like now I'm wondering what it looks like when Jamal is coming off of one of those type of games.
Yeah.
You know, is it like 20.5? You're not. Here's what I will say as I dive into it more, and I'm starting to really see where you're coming from. Jamal Murray, you are not paying a premium tax on for his last game because the books are shading everything to Clippers by a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see the vision in that. I'm tempted by Harden tonight. Doesn't it feel like a useless Harden game? Scores 40, but they didn't need him to score 40, and now he's going to be awful in Game 7.
4 of 6 from 3 in the first half. But you know what? You know who has my attention now? Who's the perfect correlation, win or lose in this game, blowout or not? Who would be that guy in this game? Think both teams. Correlation where I could see this guy get.
I know exactly where you're going. Your favorite / least favorite player in league history.
My goodness. I just tried to drop that box down, saw that name pop up, and be like, whatever game script, I think it fits perfect, and you can bend the narrative. You know what I mean?
Mr. Donnie getting blown out by 25, and he goes to their new head coach, Mr. Adelman. Listen to me. I got this. He's like, Russ, don't you want to rest up? No. I got this.
Let me cook.
Triple
I'm
double.
going triple double, like 16, 11, and 10 in a meaningless game in the fourth quarter. Either way, sounds fantastic for Russell Westbrook. Like, if they're winning, like, you know what I mean, in the fourth quarter, he's still going to be getting his run. If they're getting beat down, he's still going to be getting his run here. Ooh, that 11 and a half. Now,
is he back?
What has he done? Why, was he hurt?
He was injured for one of the games. No, he played last game. Played 25 minutes. Played well.
Ooh, there you
21-1.
go.
That's right. He was great. Wait a minute now. What
Let me
book
see
do you
what
have
one
his
says.
numbers on?
I'm looking at FanDuel right now, 11 and a half. That's what I got here.
Yeah.
Let me go to Ross. Let me look what he's done. Let me get a feel for how he's been cooking lately. Why can't I find him? We don't need Strother. Get him out of here. So he played 25 minutes, 9 minutes, 23 minutes, 34, and 23. So his points, look at his points though, Kevin. Houston. What is this? Game 1. Let's see Houston there. Was that last year? Like, why would it have that? It says
What
Houston,
are you looking
126, 111. Oh, the graphic goes up. That must have been the last game of the season they played. Okay, so 23 minutes in the final game was 17 points. Game number 1 of the series, 15. Game number 2, 14. Injured 3. Game number 4, 21. Come on, now, I got my bet. Like, now I just got to go market shopping here. Is that the best of at 11 and a half? Where are we at here? Let me go to 365. Now
you got me.
Now I'm excited.
You are gonna cost me the dumbest money of my entire life because I'm trying to bet this guy for a triple double.
It's blowout proof. Like, we're blowout proof right now. We are. The score doesn't matter for the first time in my life in a prop bet, which I think is tremendous. Russell Westbrook, people, that is your angle tonight. We'll be back to talk more about that next right here on Moneyline. It's a Thursday afternoon right here on the Grid.
Winning is not just beating the odds. It's the thing that keeps the wife smiling and your kids in respectful awe.
Oh, Father. Now cut that out.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. 4 games on the schedule. The Maple Leafs and Senators in Ottawa. Toronto up 3-2. Vegas looking to close out the Minnesota Wild in St. Paul. The Golden Knights up 3-2. Colorado trying to stay alive against the Stars in Denver tonight. Dallas up 3-2. Edmonton can close things out at home against the Kings. The Oilers up 3-2. NBA tonight, the Pistons looking to stay alive at home when they take on the Knicks. New York trying to close things out up 3-2 as they head into tonight's game at Little Caesars Arena. At the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, the Clippers looking to stay alive against the Nuggets. Denver up 3-2 in the series. The NFL has fined the Falcons and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich following the prank call Ulbrich's son made to Shedeur Sanders in the draft. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, other insurers not available in all states or situations.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more. And as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code TALK. SwishRadio.com, code TALK.
You've heard of smart bombs,
Smartphones, smart cars, smart watches, and smart glasses.
Now you can add smart player.
Giving you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Oh, which way do we go? I don't think there's any way to lose right now. People are out here popping. By the way, Shy Picks, one of our good friends out there on X, giving you a little bit of action, saying the GOAT talk is now settled. What a great day, which I guess he's saying like LeBron now cemented as the greatest basketball player of all time.
Look, and I don't want to be rude to a loyal listener, but do you know how dumb that is? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
I mean,
like,
now
oh,
it's settled,
LeBron, like, yes, you know what? Yep. We were unsure, and then 40-year-old LeBron had the greatest series in the history of anybody 40 or older or playing 20 or more seasons. Settled? Yeah, it did settle it. LeBron by a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting as it plays out, but the people are going to take digs at that. By the way, Kristen Hess says, congratulations at the Kevin Walsh on most improved host. How about that?
Yeah.
You did awards this morning, Kev. Gave you that award live on the air.
Yeah, what was that? What was that award situation? What was that all about?
Like me and Joe Ranier, we get the free will, you know what I mean? On our 3 hours, which we'll do again tomorrow. We have a good time with that. So it came up where we were talking like the open in the 7-7 was the most improved player in the NBA. So I'm like, the award is so wonky because it's like, did you come back from sucking or did you hurt your knee? Like there's no real like in between. Like you can think about it. Hey, comeback player of the year. Well, he was here the whole year. Yeah, but he actually, made a couple baskets this year. So I was like, who? And the best part is that Joe didn't take the bait. Like, who at the network deserves to be like most improved host here? And he's like, I'm not going to buy it. Like, I'm buying right now because where I'm going with this one. So I went through the whole, like, the normal. When I first worked with Kevin, like he couldn't get in and out of breaks. Like he was real rusty. We didn't know if he, one of those that played all up. I'm like, you know what? He's been really good. He's got his own show, game time decision. So by far. So I was like, guys behind the scenes, I need a graphic. So like an hour went by on the show later. And then we opened up hour number 3. Like, all right, the awards are in here. Let's take a look. Who won that award? And boom, there goes your picture on the screen with, most improved, and it played right into it. So I needed a couple minutes to fill to talk about most improved player in the NBA, which I didn't care about. But so I made it into a bit and it worked out well. And you got the award and everybody loved it. And there you go.
And as I said, to your tweet, most improved and MVP in the same season.
About a year.
A big year for me. So really proud of myself, proud of everybody around me who made it possible. And I think maybe the more serious thing, though, is what percentage, Donnie, of people do you think when you do when I first met Kevin, he basically had no idea how to work?
Yeah, they're
like, what
it.
percentage of people are buying it? Like, I think 60, over
60%. Yeah, 60% of the people. Yeah, Donnie's been around the block. Kev's a little bit younger. Kev sounds good on the radio, now on TV. Like, he got schooled correctly there. So I do think people would buy into that effort there, which is good because you like to keep the shtick going. And also, have you seen the new commercial, Kevin, playing around the network? Have you seen a new one? By the way, your game time decision one is new somewhat, but that's not the one I'm talking about now. Debuted this morning and played repeatedly.
Whoa, no, I don't think I did.
Me and BWS yelling at each other for about a full minute.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's good theater,
Hold on
isn't
a
it?
second.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so, listen, let's call it what it is. Of course, I got tipped off to that interaction, right? Like, which, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just moles in the room all the time in that show.
Well, listen, no, it was from outside sourcing. Anyway.
Wow.
I went back and watched it. Now, I'm not going to comment on the debate itself.
Okay.
I'm going to comment on the topic.
All right.
I think that simply on the idea of Arch not beating out Quinn is a really bad look for Quinn, yes. I think would be more applicable in the NFL. Or for Arch not beating out Quinn is a bad look for Arch. I think in the NFL, 100%, I think I was screaming all year, like, I don't know why Sark is doing this.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. However, 2026 NFL draft odds come out. Favorite to go first overall, Arch Manning.
Yes.
I have now seen a number of reputable people comment, I don't know why anyone thinks Arch is leaving and going into the draft next year. Not the Manning style. Eli played 4 years. Peyton played 40 years. There's no way. Like, this is not what the family is about. And now I'm starting to get a little confused. Because when you're Andrew Luck, when you're Trevor Lawrence, the second you can go, you go. Because there's $100+ million contract waiting for you at the end of the rainbow.
Yes.
This idea that Arch Manning is going to stay 4 years because Peyton did 25 years ago. Some might be up here.
Yeah.
No, Donnie. Like, I don't know what you think about each individual, but Lance Zierlein, if I have the name correct,
yes,
like a longtime NFL reporter, Matt Miller, NFL draft. Lance Erline said the Mannings are absolutely not letting him leave. I cannot believe how he is basically anyone who thinks Arch is going to leave at the end of next season is dumb. And Matt Miller, who covers the NFL draft for ESPN now, is like, I literally will not treat Arch as a 2026 prospect. I'm thinking 2027, if not 2028.
Now, hear me out on the reasoning for that, because I think there's something to one of those where that family's been around the business a long time. What have we always been told, like with quarterbacks, like Mitchell Trubisky, this guy's like 11 starts. It's number one pick. Like we barely even see him on tape. So I think they're playing into that, like he's going to get a full year to start. Is that enough? Does he need another year? Which then buys back into, why aren't we forcing Arch Manning on the field as a freshman and starting and saying he's not coming to your school unless he's playing right away? So by the time he is 3 years in, he's got 35 games under his belt and he's ready to turn pro. Like, again, guys weren't leaving school all that earlier back in the day. Like Peyton, playing his freshman year all the way through, just something that you make up, and he thought it would be better for his transition there. But also in that argument, which the crux of it was for me is like, who do you think is going to be number one? I said, I think it's going to be Arch Manning. But my second point was, I'm worried about that because I don't know how good Arch Manning is. And if he was all that he was set up and cracked up to be, he would actually already be the starting quarterback. Which then Ben's like, wow, Quinn Ewers, the greatest rated quarterback of all time, which again fed into my point saying, yeah, but when he got to college, maybe he wasn't that good. And that's why I was talking about Arch Manning, all that hype getting into college. Maybe he's not that good if he couldn't beat out a 7th round draft pick in Quinn Ewers that everybody was screaming around. What is Sark doing? Put the better quarterback in. Maybe he wasn't the better quarterback when it was all said and done. But we'll find out this year. He's the Heisman favorite and the number 1 overall draft pick favorite for the NFL draft next year. Topics. What we do on Moneyline. We'll be back.
Get the SportsGrid mobile app and you'll never be alone. Take the latest episodes of your favorite shows with you anywhere. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Sports Rage Tonight.
That's why, Cam, I didn't play golf more. I played golf when I was a kid. My grandfather used to play with a 1-iron, bro. Like with the old school clubs. Like, I'm playing with a 1-iron. You know what that is? With a 1-iron. He goes to me. He goes, if you can play with a 1-2-iron, you can play with anything. Here you go, kid. All these stupid curves. He goes, these idiots with their curves. He wanted to stick straight.
It's Sports Rage Tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Searched. And now you found it. A mostly peaceful oasis in the sports talk desert, where one multi-platform giant shines like a lighthouse on the calm ocean.
Nice metaphor.
That network
is SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Behind the scenes, people. It gets hot around here. Nothing hotter than Western Westbrook tonight. That game's 10 o'clock. I might have to be up again. I was up last night. Like, I made it to the night game last night. That's how impressive I've been. And by the way, I've been watching a little bit more hockey at this point, upset that I can't watch Flyers hockey, is how robbed I feel at this point, and how robbed I feel of, I don't watch a lot of Sixers in the regular season, but I really enjoy the playoffs, getting robbed of that. But I enjoyed last night the theater because I feel like I was like invested in my whole, Lakers can't lose because the NBA has a conspiracy. They lost, which I get a kick out of when I woke up and saw the final score. Because I actually rolled over in the fourth quarter, saw it tied. I'm like, oh, come on, Lakers. You got to win this because I need to talk about the Lakers a couple more days. They lost. But I wanted to see that Houston game. And I was really impressed saying, okay, let's see what they do in game number 6, which again leads us to tonight. 2 more games and 2 more game 6s, which I would love for both home teams to win because everybody loves a game 7, man. You're always going to be watching or betting or have a handicap or have an opinion on that. So that's my approach tonight. I want the Pistons to win. I don't know if they're as good as the Knicks per se, but they are favored. We'll see what happens. I know the Clippers are winning tonight. I just have that. I just have that feeling.
I know. I think it makes sense. I also don't think you can do some money line parlays. Like, you got to pick your spots, but when it comes to the NBA playoffs, Donnie, would you say, I guess here's a valid question. Confidence level in the Clippers tonight relative to confidence level in the Lakers last night?
Higher on the Clippers tonight. Because I've had the pulse of this series all the way through. I haven't really had the pulse of that Lakers series. Like, they'll win this game, they'll lose this game. But this Clippers series, where it's like, I knew the Clippers would win game 3. And I said again, I know, which got really close in game number 4, that the Nuggets would win. I know the Nuggets were winning game 5. I know the Clippers winning game 6. And I know the Nuggets now will win game 7. Like, that's my thought process all the way through. And it's been right on. So comfort level for me and prediction level, I'm so high on the Clippers tonight. I really am.
What do you think the line will be in game 7, assuming we get there? I think we will, but just what do you think the line will be?
Again, same thing, because here's what's going to happen again. What have you done for me lately? Don't worry about that Nuggets game in game number 5. That's something which should have a big impact. But you're going to see tonight, if it's one of those, again, double-digit wins, I always told you the Clippers were better. Favorites by 1.5 again in Denver. No doubt in my mind.
Let me see. Are they not hanging? Oh, that's interesting. I thought that they would hang
a game 7,
like Nuggets in 7 props. They're not hanging that at all. That's interesting.
Yeah,
because the Nuggets are minus 190 to win this year. The Clippers are plus 155 or plus 164. That almost looks like not a terrible bet.
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
Look,
Did I tell you I played some OKC futures?
Did you? For what? Like which way?
So I played them to win the West, but I did it all in parlays. Like I took like the Thunder. Basically, so here's what I did.
Yeah.
I took the Thunder to win the West with Dodgers money line when they walked it off against Miami the other night, right?
Yeah.
But then I did Dinger Tuesday, and I put the Thunder with a couple home run shots, and I got Judge and Polanco on that night.
Wow.
So it added like an extra I didn't put a lot on them.
Boom, boom, boom. Sure.
Well, that's the thing, right? But it added like an extra. Hold on, I wrote it down. It added like an extra like $100 basically. With like minimal risk. So because to me, it's like I don't really care about hitting Jorge Polanco's home run short term.
And then the best part's like, man, I hit these home run props, then I lost on the OKC bet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just throwing out. Like I just want to increase the juice and enjoy this because it's going to win. It's like, wait a second, the long shot won, the favorite lost. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. It happens though, but I now have OKC to win the West futures, and basically like the way I did it, I got myself much better odds than like the almost minus 200 that you're now seeing out there. It's not a crazy way to go about it, though. Like I said, like I don't know if you can do this, Donnie, but like the Thunder to win the West. Do you like the Thunder to come out of the West, or are you still a little uncertain?
No, I was always a Thunder guy. I'm a Thunder Cavs guy. That's what I am.
I was going to say, they won't let you parlay the Thunder with the Clippers money line. Who do you like in baseball tonight, Donnie? Do you have a favorite side?
Yeah, I don't. I have a couple. I did a couple scoping out early, and let me just see if I can bring up my card real quick. Early on was like a hitter prop.
There's not a huge favorite.
Yeah, like Quan.
Yeah.
But if we're looking from a side perspective, like the team total, which everybody's probably going to be lined up on, more likely to be Milwaukee today, and then also a sneaky team total though. It's Washington.
How about this?
Against the Philadelphia Phillies. What do you got?
Quan for 1 hit run RBI. Thunder to win the West. Minus 122.
They're going to give you a cash out for 100% after Quan gets a base knock tonight. We're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow for Moneyline.
woman, and she'll tell you all men are afraid of commitment.
Clearly, she's never met a SportsGrid listener.
Draft. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. 4 games on the schedule. The Maple Leafs and Senators in Ottawa. Toronto up 3-2. Vegas looking to close out the Minnesota Wild in St. Paul. The Golden Knights up 3-2. Colorado trying to stay alive against the Stars in Denver tonight. Dallas up 3-2. Edmonton can close things out at home against the Kings. The Oilers up 3-2. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code RADIO. Swishradio.com, code RADIO.
If you want to be an alpha, you've got to get the winning edge. It's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory with the winning edge. You're in the big leagues. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Scott Wetzel.
Off and running in today's edition of Football Full Circle right here on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Sirius Channel 159, Joe Lisi, Scott Wetzel taking you around the NFL for the next hour. Scott, we got some future odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll dive into those a little bit later, but throughout the week, we've been talking about draft recaps. I've been going through, giving my assessment on teams that really set themselves apart from the rest. I think Atlanta did a pretty good job. I think Arizona as well. I think Cleveland, outside the 2 quarterbacks from a defensive perspective and what they were able to get offensively, I think will help them. You and I haven't had an opportunity to talk since the draft. Any teams that stood out to you that either made it or broke it in regards to the draft grades this past weekend?
Yeah, listen, I've been railing on the Giants for the longest time for winning that game, 2 weeks left of the season, right? Costing them the number 1 overall pick. And I still think Cam Ward is going to be terrific. They blew a chance on him. But in the end, they got a quarterback, and we'll figure out if Jackson Dart. They got the guy they really, really liked, Luke Carter. So, and loved Scatterboo in the 4th round. That was terrific. They actually addressed some needs. I kind of evaluate these things, Joe, as, you know what a team needs. Did they draft a guy for that position? Who knows if these guys are going to turn out to be the greatest things in the world? So I'll let you guys, figure that stuff out. But did they at least address the needs? The Giants actually did. So I was happy about them. Love the fact that Green Bay took a wide receiver for the first time in, 3 decades with their first overall pick. They were crying out for a wide receiver, something they never did with Aaron Rodgers. They did, one time with Brett Favre. So I was happy to see that. I thought that was impressive. You mentioned some of the teams. I don't know what Cleveland's going to do with their quarterback situation. That's obviously been beaten to death over the last few days. But it's the Browns. I wasn't happy about them trading down, but I didn't think they were going to be a good fit for Travis Hunter anyway, to tell you the truth. I don't even necessarily think Jacksonville is. To me, he needed to go to a team that was really successful, great head coach, stable background, and tell him what to do versus him walking into a situation where he's going to tell them what to do. So wasn't happy they moved down and really not happy with Jacksonville taking him. So that'll still all be an interesting thing to figure out what he's going to be in the NFL.
Yeah, they do have some odds for both Cam Ward and Travis Hunter that we could dive into in terms of a little bit later from the odds perspective. But to your point about the New York Giants, if I had to give you a market, whether Joe Schoen and Brian Dable will be there in 2026, knowing what they have to do, knowing the situation with the quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and obviously Jackson Dart, do you put it at 50-50? Would you put
maybe even money on it that both are back next year as GM and head coach, or you think they're really up against it and really need to make a wild card push for both to be back in 2026?
I think Shane, the GM, will be back. I don't know about Daboll, though. I think he's on a hotter hot seat than Shane. I think Shane will get 2 head coaches. Managers generally get at least 2 head coaches to hire and fire, right? So he would be the first one for him. Will he? It's a real good bet. 50-50 is probably it because, it all depends on what Jackson Dart does, right? I don't think they're going to the playoffs with Russell Wilson. I really don't. And I'd be surprised if Jameis Winston was still on the team, to tell you the truth. So, are they going to get 6 wins, 7 wins out of Russell? Is that going to be enough to keep his job? I don't think so. So it's going to be, whether Dart gets in there and what does he show. If he shows that he's good, then you probably keep Daboll. I'm not the biggest Jackson Dart fan. He was lousy at USC. Good at Ole Miss. I'll grant you that. But I would lean more towards no. Daboll, no. Shane, yes.
Now, I brought this up to Ben this week, and I want to get your take. They really are in a tough situation because they need to win in order to keep their jobs, right? They go 3-14. Both are going to be out the door no matter, what type of offense and defensive talent they have there. So that's why they have the veteran quarterbacks. So let's just assume Russell Wilson gets to start week 1. Let's say by week 10, Scotty, they're above 500. They're, let's say 6-4, week number 10, they're fighting for a wild card berth. Second half of the season's up in the air. If they make a push, potentially they can make it, which is all well and good potentially for Shane and Brian Daboll. But what does that mean in 2026? Because that means Jackson Dart then has no game experience heading into next year, and you're not going to roll the dice with Russell Wilson back in 2026 or Jameis Winston.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Vikings. Now, the Vikings didn't have a choice with J.J. McCarthy. He got hurt. But ultimately, what did they accomplish last year, Joe? Nothing, right? Just really, okay, it was a fine year, nice year. We got into the postseason, got embarrassed last couple of weeks. Well, are we any better this year because of what we did last year? No. So that's the same thing with the Giants. I mean, you can't win for losing. It kind of reminds me of an old All in the Family episode where Edith is cheating to lose. And Archie says, you don't even win, you cheat to lose. Same thing with the Giants. Like you can't even win to win. I mean, what are you going to bring Russell Wilson back again next year? Even if you made the playoffs, which I kind of doubt they will, but if they get knocked out in the first round, I mean, Pittsburgh had that and they didn't bring him back. Why would the Giants bring him back when he's 1 year older, right? So it's almost like no matter how successful they could be 6-0, and I think I would still yank Russell if Jackson Dart is ready. It's not whether Russell Wilson is good or bad. It's when is Jackson Dart ready to show a little something?
Yeah, and that's really the main concern heading into the New York Football Giants season in 2025. 5.5 win total. They did tack, I believe, a 3.5, 4 early on. They bet it up now to 5.5 across multiple books. We'll see if the Giants can get over that total. The other team, and you mentioned it in terms of Russell Wilson's last team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are you shocked that here we are now in the month of May, and we're still not sure whether Aaron Rodgers is going to play football in 2025 and, more importantly, be under center week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I am a little surprised. I'm really surprised that they really didn't take a quarterback, high in the draft that they can really count on as far as maybe being a starter, right? I don't get it at all. Why are they waiting for him? It's just like, you're not Green Bay. Or, if you're Green Bay and he was there for all those years, you win a Super Bowl, okay, you know what? We're going to bend over. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We'll let you do whatever you want to do because we owe you, right? But Pittsburgh doesn't owe him anything. Nothing, Joe. The only thing I can think of now is that they've gotten word from, whether it's Joe Flacco in Cleveland, whether it's Winston with the Giants, that these teams said, listen, if Rodgers doesn't come to you and you want one of our excess players now, we'll throw them to you for a late, draft choice. Maybe They know they could go get one of these veterans. Maybe they call up the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe the Falcons are saying Kirk Cousins is yours. If you want him, you let us know. There has to be an alternative plan outside of, Mason Rudolph being the starter. I just can't believe that's their, okay, if Rodgers doesn't come, it's Mason Rudolph. There's got to be another window that they can go to if Rodgers doesn't show up.
Yeah, and maybe it's with Jameis. Maybe the Giants get rid of Jameis Winston. I don't know. I don't think that that's the right route for Pittsburgh to go, but they're tacking an 8.5 win total on them. It is juiced to the under, Scott, at minus 130, plus 110 to the over should they get to 9 wins yet again in the Mike Tomlin era. You were able to do that, to your point, with Mason Rudolph a couple of years ago where they lost to Buffalo as an 11.5 point underdog. But are they anywhere closer to an AFC championship now, even though they have DK Metcalf? That is the problem, and I said this. This situation potentially could be the nail in Mike Tomlin's coffin in terms of head coaching for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're stuck in neutral for the last 3 seasons. Unless they make an AFC championship push, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the other thing with Rodgers, Joe, is you're counting on him being really good. He may eventually say, yep, I'm all set to go. Put me in, coach. And then you find out at 38, 39, 40, whatever he is, that, you know what? He's done. He's just done. We're waiting all this time for him. He finally comes in and we realize he just doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, that is the main concern for Aaron Rodgers coming back. And if you're taking Kirk Cousins, he only has 1 major playoff win throughout his career. Scott and I will return. We'll dive into the division odds right here on Football Full Circle. Keep it where it is.
Out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on SportsGrid, and we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin. He just gives that 5. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. The NFL is issuing a fine to the Atlanta Falcons and the team's defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich following an investigation into a prank call made to Shedeur Sanders during the 2025 NFL Draft. Sanders and several others were the victims of prank calls while waiting to be contacted during the draft last week. An Army combat veteran whose Gulf War experience triggered severe mental problems is scheduled to be executed today in Florida for the shotgun killings of his girlfriend and her 3 young children in 1998. Barring a last-minute reprieve, Jeffrey Hutchinson is set to receive a lethal injection tonight at the Florida State Prison near Stark. The execution, if carried out, will be the 4th in Florida this year under the death warrant signed by Governor Ron DeSantis. The 62-year-old Hutchinson has long claimed he is innocent and that 2 unknown assailants perpetrated the killings as part of a U.S. government conspiracy. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code RADIO. swishradio.com, code RADIO.
There's something you should know and always remember.
SportsGrid does not increase luck. We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck, go find a horseshoe. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Scott Wetzel.
All right, back on Football Full Circle. Lisi and Wetzel breaking down the NFL. Scott, I don't know if you saw this, but they came out with division exactas on FanDuel for the NFL odds. I love this. We got the Kentucky Derby on tap on Saturday. Who doesn't like talking about exactas? And here's one bet that I'm making. I'm making this bet, and I know it's going to stir you up, so this is why I'm bringing it up. Exact divisional order for the AFC East. This is the one I'm looking at. Buffalo Bills, number 1. The New York Jets with Justin Fields. Give me the number 2. New England Patriots, number 3. And 4th, the Miami Dolphins at number 4. 11-1, Scotty, right now on FanDuel.
Wow. All right, so I'll jump. Why the Dolphins last? They're going to be bad, but last?
Well, because I don't know if you saw the reports leading up to the draft about Mike McDaniel and how he lost the locker room last year. A lot of veteran players were upset about how Mike McDaniel handled that situation. We know he's not, in my opinion, one of the worst in-game coaches that we've seen in the NFL. And again, when you start to lose the locker room, Jalen Ramsey now potentially on the trading block. We don't know exactly what transpires. Is he all bought in? Is he bought out? I think this team's in disarray. I honestly believe that. That's including Tyreek Hill. If he's there and all bought in, I still don't buy into Tua. I certainly don't buy into the defense. And I actually think the Jets are a much better defensive team. And I'll take a shot that Vrabel coaches up New England to have a better record. I don't know if New England's going to be 8-9 overall, but I think the Miami Dolphins have the potential of 5-12 this season.
All right. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know about 5-12, but yeah, listen, I think they're in disarray. There are teams that add on players that really want to win, and then there are teams that get rid of players. And if you want to get rid of Jalen Ramsey, first of all, they're not going to be able to. He's owed $25 million this year, guaranteed money. No one's trading for that contract. Nobody. So he's got to be on the Dolphins, which is why it's stupid for them to make the announcement that, okay, this guy's available, knowing full well no team is doing that. So all you're going to do is alienate the player by telling the world you want to get rid of him. So I do agree. I don't think they're going to be that bad, though. Like, they're going to be worse than New England. They're going to be worse than Justin Fields and the Jets. Maybe the Jets at number 2, but I would hedge a little bit and go Buffalo 1, Jets 2, Dolphins 3, then Patriots 4. I think the Dolphins are probably still good for 5 or 6 wins. I don't know if the Patriots are good for 6 or 7.
Well, Scotty, you could book them both. They're both 11-1. So if you want, so it's not bad. So the Dolphins and Pats flip-flopping from 3 to 4 overall. You could get both prices on FanDuel at 11-1. I think the most shocking number in terms of the division, if you really want to go crazy, is the New York Jets number 1, Miami Dolphins number 2, Pats 3, and Bills dead last in the division. That's 150-1, Scott. 150-1. You might take that bet. I know.
You know what? 150-1. I'd put a crazier bets on NBA. These goofy let it rain props that FanDuel offers. In the NBA each night. Will teams score 150 points or this or that? You know what they should do, Joe? They should have a bet now that we have 17 games. So there's no pushing. How many teams in each division will finish over 500? I think Buffalo's the only team in that division that's going to finish over 500.
I think the Jets.
That bet was there.
I think the Jets could finish 10-7. I'm a buyer.
You love Justin Fields.
I do.
You love Justin Fields.
And typically I would bash the Jets, but I love what they did in the draft. I believe Aaron Glenn is a player's coach. He'll get the most out of this team, and they have young talent. That's the biggest thing. When you have young talent and a young head coach, a former player that can potentially elevate this team, and again, love him or hate him, I didn't think it was a great defensive coordinator. But he might be a motivator where you get the most. I never felt like Salah was a motivator, right? No matter how good of an X's and O's coach, just never felt like the locker room was bought in to Robert Salah as like the leader of that organization. They much would rather follow Aaron Rodgers than Robert Salah. He was soft-spoken. For such a big, tough guy, didn't get animated, wasn't emotional on the sidelines. I think Aaron Glenn's a little bit different. So if you're buying into that perspective, and you believe that Justin Fields now, with his 3rd team overall, potentially can elevate into an above-average quarterback or one of the top 10 or 12 in the NFL, like I believe he can due to the running ability, you have a shot there. Would you take a shot on their win total, Scotty, for the New York Jets? Because I like that too. New York Jets win total is 5.5 wins. I love that bet. It's minus 145 to the over. But I mean, I believe they could get to 9-10 wins this year.
Yeah, I do like the over. I don't know about 9 or 10, but I do like the over 5.5. There's too much offense. There's too much defense on that team for them to be that bad. Their issue last year was this. It was Aaron Rodgers. So many games down the stretch with an opportunity to win or tie the game. Final 5 minutes, and he failed. And he, meaning the offense, failed time after time after time. So they were in all those games. 5.5. I like the Giants and the Jets over total. But I will say this about Aaron Glenn. I'm not going to throw him out with the dirty dishwater. But the way he handled the Aaron Rodgers situation shows me that he's got a lot to learn on handling players in situations. I mean, you don't have the guy fly all the way in. You don't act like a... no.
To Aaron Rodgers only, he deserved that. He deserved. Anybody else, Scott, I would have given you the pass saying you're right. He's not handling it. The fact that he set a precedent to Aaron Rodgers to say this is my team and the team means more than you, that's what really matters to me.
Yeah, listen, I don't mind what he did. It's how he did it, Joe. You don't have the guy. It's just, if you want to take Aaron Rodgers' version of it, you don't have the guy fly 3,500 miles to sit him down for 5 seconds and say, we're cutting you. See you later. I mean, you don't have to do that. If you're going to reason with him and explain things, and that's how he handled it. That's not how you handle things. You can't be that cut and dry. You'll lose the lock. If you do that with veteran players, you do that with people that you're going to have to cut, in a few months after training camp, and you be that way, that snobbish and that cold-hearted, you're going to lose the locker room quickly.
We'll see. I actually think it was a good trait for Aaron Glenn. I think he set the record straight with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see how it plays out this season. We'll come back. We'll talk about some NFC teams. Division exactas coming up next on Football Full Circle.
There's smart
and there's not smart.
Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Keep it here
and win. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1991, A's outfielder Ricky Henderson steals the all-time MLB record at 939th base in a 7-4 win over the Yankees. Also in 1991, Nolan Ryan pitches a record 7th no-hitter.
That's it! Number 7 is in the books. The remarkable Ryan has done it again.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
RoboBee, an amazing technological achievement by Harvard University's microbiotics laboratory, is a 1-inch long, 80-gram synthetic insect intended to intelligently swarm and pollinate like real bees.
Frankly, the masses wouldn't appreciate it.
Which up to now has only had one problem.
I don't have any legs and can't land without killing myself.
However, due to a new Harvard evolutionary biology breakthrough study of insect locomotion,
bees got knees.
RoboBee can land with the graceful legs of the crane fly. One additional great feature of the RoboBee?
Huh?
No stinger. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The early line.
He was the minus money favorite, the odds-on favorite to go first overall. For Shedeur Sanders not to be a first-round pick, all right, I think I could buy into that. For Shedeur Sanders to be a fifth-round pick, that is the shocker, that is the stunner, and that is why I buy that notion. It is the most surprising slide we have ever seen in draft history.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. There comes a point when the chips are down.
To coin a phrase.
When the only thing you can do is stop and wait. Do you want to face that moment prepared?
Or rely on luck?
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Scott Wetzel.
Back on Football Full Circle, continuing the conversation. Scott and I left off talking about division exactas for the AFC East. I actually think the New York Jets have the opportunity to be the second best team in the division behind the Buffalo Bills. We talked about the Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Glenn situation, what that means big picture potentially for the New York Jets. Before we transition, Scott, New England's win total, 7.5, which I find very intriguing. I can't get around, and I understand Mike Vrabel's a great coach, or an above-average coach. I don't know if he's elite. I don't put him in that category. But does he matter that much to the New England Patriots, knowing that they still have young talent, still not elite playmakers? I know they get Stephon Diggs. To be a 7.5 football total this year? I just don't see it.
Yeah, and Mac Jones, Drake May still has a lot to prove. But I was going to compare him to Mac Jones, right? Well, how was Mac Jones his first year, right? He took the New England to the playoffs. We're all talking about, Belichick and the Patriots. They did it again. They got their quarterback in the future, and here he is now back up for Topeka High. So maybe the same thing happens with Drake May. Showed some promise last year, but to say they're going to be an 8-9 football team, wow, I don't see that jump. I like Vrabel too. He's got the look. He's just got that okay, I'm Mike Vrabel, stern, sturdy, leader on the sidelines. But is he really a great coach? Did he really achieve anything with some really good Tennessee Titan teams? You can make the case they underachieved, not overachieved with him. So I think they'll be a little bit better. I don't know about 8-9 though. I think that's a pretty good under.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll be looking at that in the offseason. We'll see what transpires. They do get Travion Henderson. A lot of people are very excited about his explosiveness. Stepped up in Ohio State. He's a change of pace back potentially for Ramondre Stevenson. We'll see how it plays out. We'll turn our attention to the NFC. Here's another division exacta that I'm high on that I think has life this year. And I know everybody in the NFC West is potentially back in Brock Purdy, back in now Matt Stafford. I understand that. I've been on the LA Rams for the past couple of seasons. They got great talent on the defense side of the ball last year with Jared Verse and Fisk. But I was very impressed with Arizona, what they did in terms of the draft this past season. They get Walter Nolan, they get Will Johnson, which will help that defense significantly this year. They have Kyler Murray, James Conner, Marvin Harrison, and Trey McBride. Scott, you want to look at Arizona's potential exacta to win the division. How about this? Arizona first, LA second, San Francisco third, and Seattle fourth, 18-1 on FanDuel right now.
Listen, you're a bigger Kyler Murray fan than I am. I think he stinks. I would have taken a wide receiver, and then you really would have had a great offense, right? Connor in the backfield, McBride, Harrison Jr. Then you take one of the wide receivers in the first round. Now you're in the big leagues. Now you got a championship caliber offense, except for your quarterback. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. That's a tough division. Is Seattle going to be better with Sam Darnold? Are the Rams going to continue? Is San Francisco going up or are they going down? That's a weird division. That might be one of the toughest divisions to go 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I had to, I'd probably go Rams 1, San Fran 2, Seattle 3, Arizona 4. I think Arizona's the last place team.
Now they do add Zay Jones. He's a possession type of receiver. He's bounced around Las Vegas, Jacksonville. He does come back. You got Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, which I think was hot and cold last year. Not really a pure number 2, right? So I agree with you. They could have gotten somebody else in the draft that potentially could elevate the passing attack. I just believe that Gannon now has a couple of defensive pieces that they could elevate their game. Let's not forget, they were a 7-win football team last year. They were potentially knocking down that wild card. If you would have looked at those 2 wins in back-to-back weeks against the Jets and Bears, right? They looked like they were right there. They were basically 7-4, 6-4 at one particular time and then fell off.
They were in first place.
Yeah.
They were in first place and it just fell off a cliff. Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
So I think they're this close. Again, I think these 2 players help them. I'm on their win total, Scott. You want to take a shot. Here's the thing. Arizona, if you don't like the exact division, meaning order at 18-1, for them to be first, plus 440, I think that's a pretty good number.
Yeah, I don't like them. This has got to be the last year for Kyler Murray as a starting quarterback in the NFL, right? As far as make or break it. You can't go into the following year with him failing again. I think he's a loser.
I like him. Plus 440. You want to take a shot at number 2 overall in the division? Plus 310. More division odds coming up. Keep it where it is.
The The Winning Edge.
You've got it.
But not everybody has it, because not everybody listens to us.
But we're working on that.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. NBA playoffs last night. The Rockets beat Golden State 131-116 to stay alive in the series. Golden State now with a 3-2 series lead. The series shifts to San Francisco this Friday night for Game 6. The Timberwolves closed out the Lakers 103-96 last night. Minnesota wins the series 4-1. Tonight, the Pistons host the Knicks. Game 6, New York up 3-2 in the series. The Clippers looking to stay alive at home tonight in Game 6 against the Nuggets. NHL last night, the Capitals closed out the Canadiens 4-1 the final. They win the series 4-1. Washington moves on to face Carolina. The Panthers beat the Lightning 6-3 to win that series 4-1. They'll take on the Toronto-Ottawa winner. The Jets beat the Blues 5-3 to take a 3-2 series lead. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? And I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step in and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
You're listening to SportsGrid.
Spreading the winning edge far and wide.
Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app.
Face it.
The winning edge is everywhere.
Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Scott Wetzel.
Continuing the conversation, we left off talking about the NFC West, which teams potentially could surprise. I said Arizona at a $4.40 price to win the division. Scott actually likes Mike McDonald in the Seattle Seahawks. What is it, 5-1, Scott, for them to win the NFC? 550.
550.
Not bad. Not bad. I think here's the thing. Do you believe that Sam Darnold could have the same type of success, minus DK Metcalf, not having one of the best wide receivers in Justin Jefferson on the sidelines, and basically a team that predominantly now wants to run the football with Zach Charbonnet? They have a heavy offensive line, sort of want to ball control it. Do you feel that could win the NFC West? I don't believe so, but again, 550 is not a bad price.
Yeah, probably not, right? But, 24-1 if you want to go Seattle, Rams, Niners, Arizona. I don't think it's going to be a great division, but I think it's going to be a competitive division. Right. Big difference, right? I mean, I can make a case for San Fran. Obviously, you make a case for the Rams. And I would put Seattle a little bit over Arizona. But certainly, as you pointed out, Arizona's got a lot of good players. They really do. Just to me, don't have a quarterback. So could they kind of emerge at 9-8, 10-7 out of all that? I'm not the biggest Sam Darnold fan, but, they can run the football, decent enough defense, passing game. They lost all their wide receivers, so that's going to be, he's going to go from, from greatness to like next to nothing. But they're a competitive, nondescript. Oh, by the way, Seattle happens to be 8-8, and they're in the running type of football team, right? So maybe they just sneak in. Maybe, then Brock Purdy, gets hurt. He stinks. Niners on the decline. Everything kind of fell the right way for the Rams. But, you tell the quarterback to go take a hike, and then you bring him back. You wonder what that's going to do to Matthew Stafford. Right. Maybe. Right. Every year you always get a last place team that goes from last to first. So it's got to be somebody. And I don't think Seattle finished in last place. Arizona did, right?
I'm gonna do what I do on Carver and Lisi. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna end the debate. Seattle has no shot to win the NFC West. No shot. I'm coming out right now in the month of May and saying that. I will say they do have JSN there. He proved to be a marquee wide receiver last year, stepped up, was more consistent than DK Metcalf throughout the regular season. This is intriguing, Scott, because FanDuel does a fantastic job in the offseason of putting up markets. And I don't know if you saw this, but they definitely didn't have this last year, not from what I can remember. Stage of elimination now. Stage of elimination for every single team in the NFL. Don't look. Don't look.
All right.
Pick a team that you
want to know. So what do you
have to
pick a week? So you got to pick the week they get eliminated from playoff contention?
Pick a team, and I'll give it to you.
All right, we'll do Miami. We'll do our Dolphins.
All right, Miami Dolphins stage of elimination. Okay? Missed the playoffs. What do you think that number is?
Oh, okay. I would say missed the playoffs has got to be minus numbers. Minus 210.
Oh, you looked already. You looked already.
I did.
Because
I didn't. You're not
Nostradamus. I've been working with you a long time. You're not Nostradamus, but it is.
But is it minus 210?
Yes, it's minus 210.
I'm a genius. What can I tell you? You're working with greatness here. Right.
But here's the thing. So here's what they also have. So stage of elimination goes by categories. Miss the playoffs, lose in the wild card round, lose in the divisional round, lose in the championship game, lose in the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, which I think is amazing because this is a pretty good bet. I actually like this. Miss the playoffs, so it's almost like make the playoffs, yes or no. But you could take it a step further, right? So let's look at the Dallas Cowboys because that's one to me. Miss the playoffs, Scott, is minus 260. Now this is an intriguing bet because you know as well as everybody. They have a very low win total. I believe it's 5.5. Everybody believes that all the Dallas Cowboys do in the regular season is compile wins. No doubt. I know you're on them. About 90% of the hosts on SportsGrid love Dallas to go over their win total and potentially be a 10-7 team with Schottenheimer as head coach. If you think they're going to make the playoffs, you better take it. Losing the wild card round is plus 490.
That's not bad. Yeah, their win total is 7.5. I do think they go over their win total because we know the guy does. They play well in the regular season. Dak's problem is in the regular season. He excels in the regular season. So you could buy that ticket from me. I'll do over 7.5. But you're right, losing the first round at plus. What is their total to make the playoffs versus losing the first round? Let me see. To make the playoffs, Dallas is Well, they got them all at the bottom. Plus 210. Ooh, so you're getting a pretty good price. You're getting over double that to lose in the first round.
Right.
And then if you get that point, you can hedge. If you're holding on to that losing the first round, then you bet against them. You hedge the other way. So
So let's
I think they make the playoffs.
All right, let's take it a step further. Give me another team outside Philly and Kansas City that we could break down. Which one do you want to know about?
Cincinnati.
Bengals. That's a team that a lot of people are high on, including myself. Miss the playoffs. Plus money at plus 130. Lose in the divisional round, Scott, plus 430. Lose in the championship, 9-1.
Really? Those are some nice numbers. Those are some good numbers. I think if Cincinnati gets to the postseason, they're going to be one of the better teams. I don't think they're going to sneak it. It's either going to be there or it's not going to be there for the Bengals. So I would take that 9-1. I think they can win the Super Bowl, but I would take a flyer on that 9-1. That's a pretty hefty price.
Yeah,
I think they win the division this year.
If they lose the Super Bowl, it's 19-1. Okay, if they win the Super Bowl, 20-1. So losing the championship round, 9-1 number. So that's not bad. How about the Bills?
Yeah.
Missed the playoffs, Scott. What do you think the number is?
Well, it's got to be high. Plus 410?
460 to miss the playoffs. Wow. Okay? Lose in the championship round, I don't think that's a good number. Plus 460. I don't like that number. I would much rather take. I think 4-6. I would want more, at least 6-1 to lose in the championship round. No guarantee.
I mean, that's where they're going to lose, right? No guarantee they're going to get there, but are they going to get to the Super Bowl? I doubt
How about
it.
this?
Right?
Lose in the divisional round, Scott, only plus 270.
That should be higher. They're not going to lose in the division round, I wouldn't think.
These numbers are bad.
I mean,
they're bad. Lose in the wild card round, plus 280. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. They might not even play. What if they don't even play in the wild card round? You lose your bet?
Yeah.
I guess so, right?
Yep.
They were, if they were if they were the number one seed. How about that?
Yep.
You lose a bet on the number one seed. How bad would that be? I'm sitting there with the best team in the NFL going to the postseason. I'd lose my bet. How's that work out?
Here's another bet. You ready? Here's one that I'm willing. I don't know if it's a great number. Missed the playoffs on the Chicago Bears minus 210.
Minus? Whoa. All right, I thought that was going to be close to pick 'em. I thought everyone was on the Bears bandwagon.
So that's
It's a
why.
debate.
That's right. Now to lose in the wild card round, it's plus 460. Lose in the divisional round, plus 750. They're not losing in the championship. I'm sorry, that's 17-1.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a pretty good number either. That's not really a good number.
Well, they're not going to win the division, right? So they're going to be a wild card team, which means they're going to be playing on the road first round. So they're going to be an underdog.
Right. We'll see. We'll come back with more stages of elimination right here on Football Full Circle. Coming right back.
Saying every SportsGrid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. The NFL is issuing a fine to the Atlanta Falcons and the team's defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich following an investigation into a prank call made to Shedeur Sanders during the 2025 NFL Draft. Sanders and several others were the victims of prank calls while waiting to be contacted during the draft last week. An Army combat veteran whose Gulf War experience triggered severe mental problems is scheduled to be executed today in Florida for the shotgun killings of his girlfriend and her 3 young children in 1998. Barring a last-minute reprieve, Jeffrey Hutchinson is set to receive a lethal injection tonight at the Florida State Prison near Stark. The execution, if carried out, will be the 4th in Florida this year under the death warrant signed by Governor Ron DeSantis. The 62-year-old Hutchinson has long claimed he is innocent and that 2 unknown assailants perpetrated the killings as part of a U.S. government conspiracy. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step in and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family. Men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Remember when you were thankful you could just get AM and FM? Things have progressed. Now even an app on your phone can give you a 21st century thrill with that little drop of heaven called the deposit notification. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Scott Wetzel.
All right, breaking down stages of elimination. No, it's not Jeopardy. It's Football Full Circle, and we're talking about teams in the AFC and NFC that potentially could be knocked out of the playoffs, or if they get to the playoffs, get knocked out in the wild card, divisional, or championship round. Scott, here's another one. I'm high on the Cardinals. For them to miss the playoffs this year, minus 180. for them to lose in the divisional round, 7-1. Wild card round is plus 370. I sort of like either of those bets. I think I would take a shot on the divisional round just because, again, I think they're going to win the division, right? Potentially, maybe they have a bye. We'll see. But 7-1 isn't a bad number. Knowing that they're potentially going up against the likes of, Philadelphia, Washington, some of the other teams that could knock them around per se. Maybe the Rams, we don't even know. Green Bay, 7-1 isn't a bad number on the Arizona Cardinals to lose in the divisional round.
Yeah, that's not the wild card. So you want them to win a wild card game and then get to the division round?
What if they don't have a wild card game, Scotty? What if they don't?
Well, only the number one seeds don't have wild card. Remember, there's only one bye, so they're not going to be a number one seed.
All right, so
the Arizona Cardinals got the best record in the NFC.
All right, so let's you never know. Let's say they play Washington in the first round. They could be Washington. They can, right? You can't say no. I like the 7-1. I don't like the 370. I don't think the 370 is worth it.
No, but if they're going to win the division, the chances are pretty good they're going to get in as a wild card team, right? So if that's the case, then they're going to be playing on the road, which means they're going to be an underdog. And if they're going to be an underdog, then you might as well just bet them plus 150 and go. Just don't worry about this entire year. Just bet them plus 150, 160, wild card weekend, and then bet against them. The only way you really benefit is if they were to win the division, and then they would be a favorite and win the first round. But I don't.
That's why I'm telling that if I like them to win the division, right, then I would take the 7-1 for them to lose in the divisional round. That's what I'm saying. That's
then
the
they're going
whole
to get
basis.
through the wild card.
Right. For me, that's the whole basis of the bet. I like Arizona at plus 440 to win the division. I don't think they make a championship run. Certainly not this year. I think 7-1 to lose in the divisional round. For me, it's almost like a hedge, right? You get the division, and you got the 7-1, hoping that they get knocked out. One more team. We'll go to the AFC. What do you think Denver's price is to miss the playoffs?
Ooh. And I like the bet. Without even knowing, I could definitely see a regression. So I would say, I'd say it's pretty close to pick them, but I got a feeling they're going to give you plus money, like plus 130, 140.
Minus 125. I thought it would be plus money.
Really?
I thought it would be maybe even money, plus 110, plus 120. Minus 125 is sort of, telling you that, the book is leaning to them missing out, right? It is intriguing when you look at some of these other lines. LA Chargers to miss the playoffs, minus 120. So they're not giving you any plus money on some of the teams that you would think are shoo-ins to make the playoffs this year, for the most part, right? You're not getting any great value. Let's look at one more, and then we'll look at the rookies. Minnesota to miss the playoffs, minus 170, Scotty.
Wow. They expect to drop down with JJ, huh? I think the NFC is going to be a little bit better. Maybe the AFC a little bit worse this year. I think those numbers kind of reflect that. Minus 170. I mean, I'm not a JJ McCarthy fan. Bears are going to be better. The Lions and Packers are going to make it out of that, that division. Are you really going to get 3 teams, maybe 4? The one good thing is that they do allow you to put these in parlays. So whereas I wouldn't put Minnesota at minus 170 straight, I'd put them in a parlay. That I would do. You think about the AFC, Joe, right? I mean, you got Buffalo. I don't know if you can put Miami clearly in that category anymore. So I think they're really just Buffalo. You have Pittsburgh. No, you can't even put Pittsburgh in that category. You have, Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Right.
You have only Houston out of the South. I'm not going to put Jacksonville there yet. And then you have Kansas City and the Chargers. You want to say Denver? I mean, they're your 7 teams. Last year, we were giving you like 10 teams in the AFC that could challenge. Well, whether it was the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, or the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Browns might be better, whereas I think the AFC is coming down, and I think the NFC, like I said, is going up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, when you look at some of the odds, I mean, it's clear that you look at the AFC right now, it's Kansas City, it's Baltimore, it's Buffalo, and and obviously Cincinnati at the top. And then I think there's a significant drop-off. Some teams potentially have the resume to get there. Can they stay healthy and can they get through? Can the Steelers find an identity? If so, then you make the bet for them to make the playoffs and potentially lose maybe in the divisional or championship round. It's all, basically based off of Aaron Rodgers if he comes back and if he hits the ground running. If it's second half Aaron Rodgers as opposed to the first half with the New York Jets, that's a winnable bet. Only time will tell. We don't know how this is going to really play out. There's now, when you look at it, they also have, and we'll jump into this and follow up, Scott, in next segment. They do also have now starting quarterback up on FanDuel. Okay, starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Ready? Kenny Pickett, Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. I like Shedeur. I'm going to take the shot at plus 370. Flacco plus 116. Kenny Pickett plus 220. And Dylan Gabriel at plus 830, Scotty.
Ooh. You know what? I think I'm going to go Kenny Pickett, believe it or not. I think there were probably some promises made to him. Flacco, I think, he's got to be the backup at this point in his career. He's got to realize that. That would be a huge, not mistake, but just, a huge statement if Flacco ends up being the best quarterback out of that group. Whereas the other guys don't show enough to at least give you the potential, okay, he's going to be our guy. So I would go Kenny Pickett on that one.
It might not be a bad bet. You saw Joe Flacco struggle with the Colts, especially in the game against Minnesota. You blitz him, keep him in the pocket. He looked like a deer in the headlights. We'll see how it plays out. We'll come back and wrap it up right here on Football Full Circle. Coming right back. Keep it where it is.
Is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to SportsGrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
It's stark but true. You can either listen to SportsGrid for strategies, odds, and more, or you can pay your bills by digging in your couch cushions for change.
Just be sure to wear gloves.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Scott Wetzel.
Continuing the conversation, we left off talking about rookie or starting jobs in the NFL. Left off talking about Cleveland, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel. Here's one, Scott, that I might make. Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, the favorite, at minus 265. Danny Dimes at plus 215. I'm willing to make that bet, Scott. I don't believe the Colts are completely bought in on AR unless he progresses early and showcases that he found consistency, pocket presence. He showed that at particular times, just wasn't consistent from the start to the end. I think Daniel Jones could beat him out. I'm not in love with Daniel Jones in any capacity. But the fact that they signed him as a backup and that there's going to be a quarterback competition in the fall, maybe he wins the job at 2-1.
Yeah, so he's actually the favorite then, right? Because you said Anthony Richardson was plus 265?
No, minus 265.
Oh, minus. Oh, yeah. I thought it was plus. Okay, yeah. No. I would definitely take a flyer on Danny Nichols, as I like to call him. He could easily win that start. He could win the starting job just because Richardson gets hurt. He's been prone to do that, for goodness sakes. So, yeah, that's a big fat number. I'm a little surprised. I thought that would be closer to pick him, but they clearly think that Richardson's the man. But I don't think so. I think there's a reason, like you said, there's a reason why they brought him in and paid him all that money. He got the highest out of all the backups. He got paid the most, so he was the number one guy. Signed him early at plus 2 and change for Danny Dimes. I would take that.
Now, here's one that's interesting: the New York Giants job. We talked about that at the top of the hour. Should do Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart has a better price than Jameis Winston at 12-1. Jameis is at 13-1. Now, last year, Justin Fields did start the year because Russell Wilson got hurt with a calf injury. We know that he's prone to injuries as well. I might take a shot at 13-1 with Jameis, knowing that Dable and Shane wouldn't really turn to Jackson Dart week 1, knowing that they have to win now. Assuming that Russell Wilson gets a little nicked up in the offseason or preseason, 13-1 for Jameis isn't a bad number.
What's Wilson?
Minus 1,600.
Now, does it specify for the Giants? Because here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking could happen, Joe. Rodgers says, I'm done. Sorry. And Pittsburgh calls up the Giants and says, listen, we don't have time to fool around here. We got to bring a guy in here that, knows our system and has been here before. You got 3 quarterbacks. Winston shows a little something. Dart shows a little something. And the Giants say, all right, you know what? See you later, Russ. You're going back to Pittsburgh. And Jackson Dart is your starting quarterback.
Well, then it pays.
Be Jackson Dart.
Well, then you agree with me. Then that for, if you're talking even units, right? I'm a unit guy, right. 1 unit. 100 on Dart, 100 on Dart, and 100 on Winston, you win a ton of money if that happens.
Right. Or if you want to split it 50-50, instead of putting a full unit on one.
I'm just saying.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening. One of those two.
You think they would ship him back to Pittsburgh? Back to Pittsburgh. Why didn't they keep him then if he was the answer?
Because they thought they were going to get Rodgers. They thought they were going to, maybe they thought they liked Sanders or Dart a little bit more than once they realized, these guys stink or these guys got baggage, so we're not going to go that direction.
Now, what I do find crazy is that they don't have the Pittsburgh job up on the.
There you
which
go.
Which is interesting. No Mason Rudolph, no Will Howard, no Aaron Rodgers. Right. There's nothing up on there suggesting, there's a quarterback quandary in Pittsburgh, which is interesting. So these are the 3 that are up as it relates to the quarterbacks in fighting for jobs come week 1 of the NFL season. We did talk about the rookies, Scott. So I'll throw some numbers at you from the rookie perspective, Cam Ward and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's number was 700. I believe it's right in the area of 750 now. How about this? Travis Hunter to have 750 receiving yards and 5 interceptions. 17-1 this year.
He might get the 5 interceptions. 750 receiving yards is a lot for a rookie. It really is. But, he's going to Jacksonville. So at 17-1, I don't think he's going to play much offense, but I would do it just because it's 17-1.
Here's one that I do like. Travis Hunter for 10-plus touchdowns offensively and defensively. That's a 7-1 number. We'll see you tomorrow for Danny Ohlers, Scott Wetzel. I'm Lisi. Have a great day, everyone.
You've found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.